All right, we will be trying to pinpoint the good, strong charts tonight, but let's look at what the market's doing. Still nothing telling us there's any severe selling going on, so guessing that it's still the result of the stimulus package. Package is still affecting the investor sentiment, thinking there's still going to be a strong economy with everybody having money in their pocket. So the Dow, although it backed off a little bit, you could see it was a doji type day. The NASDAQ backed off a little bit, but it was a doji type day. And staying above the 3T line, let alone the T line. So we know what will happen as far as a confirmed selling tomorrow. If the indexes start coming back down below, or the NASDAQ comes back down below the the low of today, that tells you things are going to back off a little bit. So the reason you want to stay with this, well, let's take a gander here real quick. I want to see what crude oil is doing. Just relatively flat, right at the $60 area. And while we're here, let's take a look at gold. And backing off a little bit. And see what soybeans are doing. Well, that's just great. What trading soybeans? I can't figure out. Well, huh. Yeah. Let's try this one more time. There we go. Soybeans started rolling over today, trading up a little bit right now. And wheat, not really going in any major direction. All right, so the bobble pattern. Anytime I see a bobble pattern setup, I'm going to go after it because the probabilities are pretty strong that it's going to trade higher. Now, can they come up and roll over? Yes, you get right back out of the trade. In this case, did we know something was happening? Absolutely not. All we knew is somebody was buying and creating a bobble breakout. There's a few others that are going to follow in that same realm. Well, I know some people have already been trading ATNF. Kind of this little bobble breakout. Had that almost a belt, very belt hold. You can see what it did. Came right back to the T line and then started right back up again. So is ETX, same scenario. Now, it was trading down lower after hours, but you want to see what happens on the open tomorrow. Okay, we recommended Overstock because it was doing a good double bottom. Let's make this a little bit smaller. But the bullish Harami gap up through the T line, through the 200, still could be a buyer this one with the first target being, do we wait till it comes back to the T line? Oh, you're looking at which one was that? Oh, on Nuance? I don't understand the question. Oh no, this is the move. I mean, it was a buyout at 56. So we'd recommended it here, was buying it there, didn't close below the T line, didn't close below the 50 the next day. We would have still been a buyer of this. Well, not usually, but it's still the same indication that if they were buying above the 50, where is everybody watching? They're watching to see what it's doing here at the 50. And the fact that it never closed really back below the 50 pretty much told us that you could still be buying this on positive trading. In this case, it's over with the buyout. This is why you want to wait for confirmation on one of these type of situations. There was your best friend signal, a close above the T line. Now, if you bought it on that day anticipating, that was Friday, anticipating that it was going to trade higher, today's lack of opening positive and trading back below the T line told you to get out of that trade. It's a dead trade. So not only do we have setups to tell you when it's time to get in, but it also tells you when that trade's not working, and it tells you right away to get out of that trade. So that's that process of cutting your losses short and letting your profits run. Let's see, just a few that we're already holding. RFP, ever since the left-right combo scoop type pattern, pretty much just stay long until you see a confirmed sell signal. COMM did a kind of a gap up. It's still very viable if it comes up through Friday's close. That would tell you the consolidation's over. These gap ups, fry pan bottom is still working. And BHVN, another one where that best friend gap up, if you're buying on any one of these days, you stay long as it stays above the T line. Oh yeah, Raj, this was a buyout. Let's go back to that. We were buying Nuance because of the bobble breakout. And now it's being bought out. So this one's over. You've got a good percentage profit on this one. You take it because it's only going to go up to here on the buyout. So the risk reward is right about where it should be. Took our profits as soon as it opened today with the buyout being 56. I told you it was pretty fairly valued, meaning it was priced at a level that says they're going to be bought out, but it's priced at a level that says that we're still in a little risk stage where maybe it doesn't go through. When did you enter? Over here, when it opened positive after the at the bubble breakout. Now, when it backed off, was that something to be concerned about? Yeah, being concerned if had it closed the next day below the T line. What is that? That would have told us that they failed here. But you can see what happened. They came down to the T line, bounced back up, and closed. I'm sorry, did I say T line? And it stayed up above the 50. Oh, Steel Dynamics. You just stay long on this one. Why do these charts keep popping back up there? This one could still be bought up in this area, telling you your next wave is in progress. And Twitter backed off a little bit today and created a Doji Harami. Makes this very simple. If you are long, it has to open positive and trade positive. If it opens lower, Shows you this level right here was acting as resistance. When you have several candles touching the T line, should we monitor for a breakout? Connie, we should be looking at that at the end, but I will look. Well, yeah, the first thing that you want to watch for is a pattern. Right now, there isn't really any pattern here other than it's basing. So you don't want to do a whole heck of a lot until you see a strong buy signal. Remember the number one criteria for analyzing the candlestick chart. Is there a signal that tells us the buyers are taking control? Not all the other indicators. I mean, you can be a little bit more diligent watching here, but right now I wouldn't do anything with this one until we saw a signal that told us the bulls were stepping in. Now, eyes had the potential of opening up positive. It opened positive. It kind of did this. So what's that tell us about our trajectory? Looks more like a fry pan bottom versus a strong breakout. This one can still be bought on positive trading as long as it stays up above the T line. Because even on a fry pan bottom, if it moves up to this level, that's still going to be about a 15-20% upside. And then if it moves up to that level doing a pattern, got a lot more upside where you could be up from this level 60, 80, 100% or greater. We closed out PPL because if you look at this chart after it had a kicker type signal and then didn't confirm, and when it closed back below the T line, what were the two elements that were occurring? One, closing back below the T line, and two, closing back not only below the halfway point and below the T line, but they're closing back below the open of that kicker type signal. What's that also tell you about your strength of your trajectory? You can see there's nothing there. So this is one of those situations where you don't get married to a trade. You look at the trade and say, whoops, I was buying, but now it's not confirming. Close it out and move on to something else. If you can get your mental configuration that you're buying something because you expect a strong price move, and when that price move doesn't occur, close it out and move on to something else. Yeah, Nuance was last Thursday. Well, here's a good number to keep in the back of your mind, John, that approximately 1/3 of your trades probably aren't going to work. That's not because the system's bad or the technique is bad. That's just the probabilities. So we know we have an extremely high probability the trades will work, but we also have to be prepared for the ones that don't work, which is about 1/3 of them. So when I finally had that sink into my head, I got rid of the stigma of, man, what did I do wrong? I analyzed this. It was a good chart. It was a good signal. It was a good pattern, and it didn't work. What did I do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. It's just one of those that didn't work. So you move on, take that money and move on to another one that has higher probabilities of trading higher. What did I just do? Oh, so Blink was the same thing. Blink had a very good chart last week. There was your bobble breakout. So what do we expect from a bobble breakout? We should be going in this direction. What did this day tell us? Well, there was your bearish Harami, Doji. The Doji rule said it's going to trade in the direction how they open after a Doji. We expect in this, but going this way, what's that tell us about our bobble breakout? It didn't bobble breakout. It unbroke. Mike, small losses will disappear on the good trades that you have. So not only will you have small losses and occasionally a big loss just because of a news announcement or something, but the probabilities say that more than likely you're going to have quite a few small gains, but you're going to put yourself in situations where the probabilities of being in big gains are much greater in your favor. So I have no qualms. I used to take it personally that I put on a trade and it didn't work, and I'm thinking, oh man, what's wrong with me? Now I know, whoops, that trade didn't work. Let's close it out and move on to something else quickly. And here is a good reason why a recommendation from somebody doesn't mean a hill of beans. All it does is when Cramer recommended this or said this was a good company to own, you can see what happened. All the people following Cramer started buying, but the market still wasn't going to move this one yet. So remember, we're not trading somebody's recommendations. We're trading what the market is telling us it's doing. So OCGN, you can watch this one. Right now it's still basing. Probably can buy on the next buy signal. The shorts, you can stay short. ARCT. You just stay short. However, notice what's happened today. In the oversold area, Doji. So if you were short, you get ready to cover this. Yeah, it was Cramer had come out and made favorable comments that it was a good company to buy. It was mid last week. And NNOX. There's your also your big belt hold bearish signal. Now that one is a little bit different because look where it closed. It closed back in the trading range. Whereas, which one was it? ANTF? Nope. ATNF? That closed right about at that level. That was iffy. So if you were long, I would have closed it on this day, but then I would have started buying it again right over here. Okay, the biggies. NVIDIA, up big today. Look at your kind of your bobble breakout, fry pan bottom, little best friend signal. Still hasn't closed below the T line, and looks like it's broken out. Whoops. Maybe not. You're right there. So anytime you see something that might be what everybody else is watching, gives you a little bit more information on what's happening there. If this opens lower and starts trading lower tomorrow, it probably would take profits because that tells you they aren't breaking out through that level. Kind of the same thing with Apple. Look where Apple went to. Right there. Filled the gap. Traded lower today. That are bearish Harami telling us we're not going through. If it opens lower, you close out the position. But it also didn't close back below the 3T line. So you still watch to see how they open this one tomorrow. Obviously, if it opens lower, you close out the position. They're profit taking. Tesla, as you can see, never could close back below the T line. Where's the next likely target? Obviously the 50. If they break out through there, you got some running room. And Amazon, nothing much going on there today, but it didn't sell off. So you're still in an uptrend. Netflix. That one did a shooting star doji type day. even though it traded positive after the open. But look where this is occurring. Right there with stochastics in the overbought area. If you're long Netflix, where would you close out this position? Obviously, if it started trading lower, and especially if it traded back below today's low, you start taking profits. Where do you think they're heading to? Back to the T-line. Oops, we did Apple. All right. There's one more. NVIDIA, Apple, Amazon, Tesla. All right. Okay, so what do you do with this one? Yeah, Facebook, I don't put it in the category of trading with the biggies. This is IAA. Doji rule, yes. And what would make this imply that it's going to open positive and trade positive tomorrow? Look what your signal is. Morning star signal followed by a doji sandwich, which is what? McMuffin, correct. And what's the implication of a morning star signal? More upside. What's the implication of a doji sandwich? More upside. What's the indication of a McMuffin? A double implication that there's going to be more upside. So this one becomes a very good one to be buying on a positive open tomorrow. Because then what would you have? After your McMuffin, you have another doji sandwich. And you're probably going through that 50-day moving hedge. But it has trouble with the 50. But we know what to do right here at the 50, right? We know the doji rule. The price will usually move in the direction of how they open it after a doji. So if they open it positive, which direction do you think it's going to go? It's going to go positive. If it goes positive, what kind of a magnitude of move can we expect? Well, maybe something like this. Doji sandwich, what's that tell you about the 50? They're going to go through. Ray, that's why you watch to see what the signal or the pattern is telling you. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be your McMuffin. It would be your Big Mac, wouldn't it? All right, so where did this one break out? Whoops. Right there. That's Yeti. What are we looking for on this one? Kind of your J-hook type pattern. And notice what it used as a support level, the 50. Now, why is that significant? Because unlike the T-line, nobody has that on their chart, and we can see that it could never really close below the T-line, but everybody and their brothers watching to see what it's doing at the 50. The fact that they closed or could not close below the 50, and they were using it as support, gives everybody that has the 50 on their chart, which is everybody, but that's not going to trade below. That means we got a higher probability everybody is starting to watch. Yes, everybody's watching the 50. Oh, let's see. That would be this trading strategy. If it opened positive and started trading positive, yeah, you put your stop at where it opened. Because logic says if it moves up and then comes back down through the open, what's it telling us probably about our 50 area? They aren't going through the 50. DJ, yes, that's just a logical assumption that if the market's moving sideways, you're probably not going to have the same numbers moving positive. But because candlestick analysis or candlestick scanning is so simple, then you're going to find 5, 10, 15 good chart setups just because of the numbers. You got 9,500 trading entities out there. On any given day, just doing a simple scan, you're going to find at least 7 good trade setups that are bullish. Because there's always something individually going on in specific stocks. Let's see. All right. All right. And this is, again, observe the obvious. Where did your morning star signal occur? Right smack dab on the 50-day moving average. What else did it do when it bounced off 2 hammer signals at the 50? It closed above the T-line. And where did it basically close? Right here at this resistance level. So if it opens positive tomorrow, what's it tell us? It's confirming the Morningstar signal that closed above the T-line and breaking this downtrend. More than likely, they're going to start taking this one back up. Why? Because everybody could see right smack dab off the 50. For a second time, they couldn't close it below the 50. And we've got that little additional confirmation that it's closing above or it closed above the T-line. So these are situations where the probabilities are extremely strong that you're moving in the right direction. What's the magnitude of this move? I have no idea. It's heading in the right direction. Kind of calculate that maybe it's going to get back up into this trend trajectory, or worst case scenario, maybe just back up to the this level. Is that a huge move? No, but it's probably at least a 10% move. And number 2, if that's your potential target, maybe you put an option spread on that trade. We've got quite a few fry pan bottoms. Few fossil. You can see that curving back up. That one can be bought. United Natural Foods, fry pan bottom, little kind of slow curve setup. Another one that could be bought. And why do we want to go after the patterns? Because they've got 2 major benefits. One, the probabilities of them moving in the direction that we expect because of the pattern is high, and the magnitude of the move is probably going to be a lot better than just merely an uptrending stock or in an uptrending market. So here's TPX, that if this opened positive tomorrow, what do we got going on? A doji sandwich, further confirming this fry pan J-hook type pattern. And zebra, big fry pan bottom. So I always try to find the patterns first, because the patterns are going to be a much higher probability that they're going to create not only the correct direction, but a much stronger magnitude of movement in that direction. So your bobble is basically a fry or a J-hook pattern that has a distinctive breakout, resistance and breakout area. However, you can still have J-hook patterns that are going to work relatively well. What is the prerequisite for a J-hook pattern? A strong price move. What started a strong price move? A little best friend signal. Now, where did it pull back to? And this is, again, what I hope everybody takes advantage of, is the illustration of what the T-line does for us, that natural support level. When they can't close below the T-line, We can see that immediately because of the T-line. We know with much more degree of confidence that there's a J-hook pattern setting up. So if we were buying on positive trading tomorrow, what would be our expectation? That this move right here is going to be the same as this move right here. Yeah, not quite an inverted hammer, but your doji, let's say doji left-right combo. And BTX, another bobble breakout type setup. Look where it moved back to. In this case, back to the 200/T line. This one can be bought. Now, it was trading a little bit lower after hours, which doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. You see where this one opens tomorrow. ASO, another J-hook pattern. And look what this J-hook pattern's coming from. There's your scoop pattern. Strong price move, pullback, left-right combo. If this opens positive, what's your expectation? Wave 1, wave 3, up to the $37, $38 area. OI, setting up a J-hook pattern. Now there's an inverted hammer with a positive open. There's your J-hook pattern with a Morningstar signal on Trox. That one can be bought with a high degree of probability, and you know what to expect. You know what your setup is. If it opens positive, you can be buying a J-hook type pattern. If it opens positive, where do you not want to see it close? Back below the T-line. Okay, what else we got here? Oh, DXC. Bullish engulfing. Best friend gap up. Little slow curve. You definitely can be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow. So remember, that best friend gives you a lot of valuable information. After a doji, which is a day of indecision, if they're gapping it up, they're not only telling you which direction they want to go, but they've made a decision that's very significant, telling you there's going to be more upside. EVLO, gap up, best friend. You can buy this on positive trading. Where can you at least figure your first target's going to be? Back up to the 50. Worst case scenario, if it fails there, probably still we're in with a little bit of a profit. All right, some other good-looking charts, STXS, I said it right. Kind of your slow curve, breakout. That right there tells you there's probably a slingshot in progress. USIO, little slow curve, breakout. That one's got some upside potential. EKSO, support, support, support. Morningstar signal, close above the T-line. Positive trading, where's your first target? Not that far away, but at least it tells you that's probably the likelihood of where the first target's going to be, putting you in a positive trade. And Dana, there's your best friend hammer type signal. Where's your next likely target? Probably back up into the trend trajectory. So again, this is just simply identifying what normally happens in human nature. Abercrombie Fitch, that gap up toward the resistance level. Just think of the common sense analysis. If this is heading up, and everybody can see that's probably a resistance level, and they're gapping up to that level, what does that imply? Implying that's probably not going to be a very strong resistance level because they're gapping up to get there They can all see it. So what is this one? XHL. What's that telling you? Lots of indecision. Dojis, little spinning tops, hammer, bullish confirmation. Where's your first likely target? Right here. Where's your second likely target? Coming back up. And it's not unusual to see a trend, consolidation, and then they hurriedly get back up. This makes for a very strong price move. Hurriedly get back up right into the trend, making this a very strong trade potential. Man, I got to quit drinking this early in the evening. Another one is doing a little slow curve, basing right off the 50. So what is the logic of this signal right here? Because everybody and their brother was watching to see what it was going to do if it came back to the 50 or if it glided to the 50. As soon as they hit the 50, notice what happened. The buying started. That's got a strong upside potential. So somebody was asking or the other day whether Sava was a good short right in here. And the answer was no. But where was a good place to short if you wanted to short even in the oversold area? It came back down through that level, the low. That would tell us there's still no support. And TLRY, kind of the same scenario, except this has a more relevant indicator of what the bulls or bears are trying to do. Doji, best friend gap down. Where do you think the next likely target is? Down here. So even though you're in the oversold area, they're still selling it off hard. IQ, what's this signal or pattern? You can see where they crunched this one. Tried to bring it back up above the T-line, did a bearish Harami. What are we looking at? Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 with a lot more potential downside. So that becomes a strong short position. And KMPH. Ow. Why is this a good strong short? Just look at your hanging man Harami, gap down. What's that tell you? They're trying to get out of this one with great enthusiasm. Can you repeat on Sava? I didn't quite understand the conclusion. Somebody asked the other day, could we be shorting this stock at this level? My answer was, your probabilities aren't very good because you're in the oversold area. You're starting to see some indecision here, which would kind of imply that maybe they're going to reverse it. So that wasn't your high probability place to be shorting. Yeah, the tongue. All right. So, but the conclusion was, if you wanted to short, you'd probably put a sell stop just below this level, because that would tell you that support level is not acting. So it wouldn't have been the best place to be shorting unless they sold it off again pretty hard. In this case, they did. So would I be shorting now? No. If I was short, I'd stay short. But what do we got going on? Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 is getting pretty close to the same magnitude as wave 1. So the probabilities now are, you probably leave this one alone, move on to something else. And here's another one that has good prospects of heading lower. You can see the slow curve, bearish engulfing, close below the 50. Where do you think the next target's going to be? Probably down in this area. So the patterns work just as effectively on the long side as they do the short side. Because all a candlestick chart is telling you what the magnitude of strength is for the bulls and the bears, especially after a sell signal or after a buy signal. They work just as well if you're trading stocks or futures. I'll show you what I usually do on futures chart if I'm trading these during the day. I usually trade off the 10-minute chart. So you can see today when it opened up here and then immediately started trading below the previous night's 10-minute chart, he started shorting it here and covered it down here. Because what was likely to happen? At least come back up and test the T-line. After that, got in and out a couple times because it just, and here's another truism. If you see something move big, in this case, we didn't cover, we gave it a little bit more, but if as soon as you see the first signs of buying on a short trade after a big move, that's usually the level where the bulls and the bears have finally reached equilibrium. I'll take my profits right there. When would I get back into this trade? If they came back down through this level. Until they did, you can see what it did essentially after that. Just moved sideways. I did trade some of the, kind of the same scenario here. Was short, may have even started shorting right in here. And where was the place to get out of that short trade? Just using the doji rule in the oversold area. Took it down here, and as soon as it came back up through this level, closed out the trade. Because as soon as you see buying after a big move, that's usually they reach the equilibrium level. Steve, it doesn't matter. Remember what the candlesticks charts tell you. What is the investor sentiment at that time? The investor sentiment was, now this might be after hours. The investor sentiment right here has nothing to do with the investor sentiment when they open the market back up. So yes, that's probably telling you you can get ready to short this, especially if it came down through this level, because that would essentially tell you this slow curve is still selling off, which means maybe there's your next target. Okay, so right now we've got a market that is still a slow, steady uptrend, and there's not any exuberance in this market. It comes up, profit taking, up, profit taking. As long as it keeps doing that, it gives us the opportunity to find which charts are going to be acting the strongest because of just analyzing which patterns are setting up that have absolutely nothing to do with what the market's doing. Okay, so with that, is there any general questions on candlesticks? Ooh, an OBLG. Very simple rule. That's your kicker signal, up, move, up, move, up, move in the overbought area. Where's the last place you want to see it trade if you're in an uptrend? Back below the open of the previous candle, I would have had a sell stop right here. And you're in the overbought area and they're trading back below the open of the previous day. That's a pretty good indication that the bears have finally reached a level where they're starting to take control. Blink, do you give it more benefit of the doubt since all the moving averages are converging? No. We're not trading the moving averages. We're trading what the price is telling us. Right now, you had a bearish Harami confirmed. And it closed below the T-line. You can take everything else off this chart. The most important factor is the signal. This is telling you that they're not, the bulls aren't in control. It doesn't matter what the moving averages are doing. Same scenario here on QuantumScape. It's almost back down to the level that we had strong support before. Maybe you could move it down here. So you want to watch to see if they start supporting at this level again. What's the thinking likelihood of T-line crunch on Blink? I don't think there's, no. It negated the T-line crunch. Remember what a T-line crunch tells you? That they're not able to close below the T-line. Well, today they were able to close below the T-line. CB, I doubt if earnings are going to make any. They don't have any earnings. They're a research company. So earnings are the only thing that they you look for on a research company is what is their burn rate, meaning how fast are they going through the funds where they might run out of funds before they finish their research. Well, in QuantumScape, that's not an issue. I forget how many hundreds of millions of dollars they have in the hoppers. So they will never run out of money for, they have zero revenue. So remember what moves prices. Investor sentiment. You can talk all the fundamentals you want to on a stock, but it's what the investor sentiment is telling you, not what you think. I'm saying not you in general, but whenever I thought something should be happening or shouldn't be happening, doesn't mean a hill of beans what I think. What's the general investor sentiment tell us is going on? Okay, I guess with that, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. And in 3.6 seconds, do the next double line. DraftKings, good short. Kind of you're close to a blue ice failure, which means the 200-day moving average could be your next target. G-Box, well, what is that? Well. There we go. Kind of your classic fry pan bottom J-hook. Can be bought on strength. There's your classic again. Fry pan bottom J-hook. That's a good looking chart. McAfee, there's kind of your breakout. Morningstar signal off the 34. Again, the 34 is a decent indicator. Right now, I may not be a buyer of this one, but I would definitely stay long. And this one you can still short if it comes back down through today's open. Look at your dark cloud followed by a bearish doji sandwich. However, the other thing you have to watch at this point is this level right here. So you got to see if they're going to break this level. If they start trading positive, now you've got a good implication that you're in a wedge, so you wouldn't want to be long or short. On 3D, yes, you can stay short or buy puts. And Billy, if this opens lower after the kicker type signal, the failure at the T-line, if it opens lower, what do you got going on? A bearish doji sandwich. Where's your next target? Target number 1, target number 2. And MDRX, 4-minute fry pan bottom. Where would be, let's see. But it did a bearish candle today. So I probably wouldn't pay attention to this one until it breaks through the 50. That's rolling over a little bit. So very simple. After a hanging man, back to the T-line area. If this starts trading lower tomorrow, I'd probably, if I was long, I'd close it out. IZEA, this one was trading higher, but I think after hours it was trading much lower. If it is, let me make sure of that, just so I'm not as misleading as I normally am. Oh, my mistake. It's actually trading higher after hours. Let's see if I can do this. Looks like it's trading up here. So notice that it, whoops, we don't have to watch that chart anymore. Notice it came right back down to the 50, traded up. You can buy this one on positive trading. And DRVN, it's a little slow curve. You can be buying that one on strength. Yes. Starbucks. You're not going to make a whole heck of a lot of money, but if you like this one, you can stay long. I wouldn't be a buyer here, but if you're long, you stay long. I think we did EVLO earlier. This one did the best friend signal. You can buy this one on positive trading tomorrow. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Slow curve, fry pan bottom. You can buy this one. I don't know what that line came from. First target. Clovis, nothing. That's just dead in the water. That was closed out when it closed back below the T-line after failing at the 50. You got to watch out for this one. You got a bearish engulfing evening star type signal right there. If this opens lower, you close it out and wait for the next buy signal. Boeing, well, for crying out loud, I haven't hit signals here all night. That one I wouldn't be long or short Boeing right now. Caterpillar, would not be long or short Caterpillar. What's the direction? You don't know. It could go up, it could go down, it could go sideways. Nothing on this chart to give you any added confirmation or indication of which way it's going to go. That one, you could be buying. They did close BABA above the 50. You can buy this one on positive trading. The fear of, the magnitude of the fine they were being levied is gone. It was only $2 billion, and somebody said they still have $70 billion in cash in reserves. Shopify. If this opens lower tomorrow, you close it out because it tells you they failed at the 50. AMAT just is not getting started, even though that whole sector is shortage of there's a shortage of chips. This one should have been closed out today if you were long. And live, that's a good looking chart. You can be buying this one. How? No, not a bullish engulfing signal. Remember, Milton, that a bullish engulfing signal is only relevant in the oversold area. A bullish engulfing signal in the overbought area says start watching for potential profits. It might be the last gasp buying. So if I was long, I'd definitely have a safety stop at today's open. And INTT. Right now, if you're short, you stay short. You can see it's trying to support here at the 34, but your stochastics are still heading down. I would stay short. Volt. If you're long, you can stay long. Just continue to use the T-line as your stop. Zixi. Nothing exciting on this one. No real massive strength. That's not a signal right here. It's not quite a bullish harami, but being not quite a signal tells you, I'd be someplace else. There you go. Yep. UNH, J-hook pattern, especially if it opens positive tomorrow. Playboy. J-hook pattern. You could buy this one on positive trading. That's a good setup. Billy, you stay short. And you can go short if it opens lower tomorrow. Lumber liquidators. You can be buying this one. Notice what they did today. Came right back down to the 50 and the T-line acted as support. You stay long, just don't let it close back below the T-line. I think we did Shopify. If this opens lower, told you they failed at the 50. All right. And PXT, stay short. Why? Look at your kicker signal. Just stay short on this one. ANTM, J-hook pattern setting up. You could buy this one on positive trading. Probably a very good conservative place would be if it came back up through today's high. Show you they are definitely moving away from the T-line. CZJ, nothing. You can see the wedge type formation, which means I wouldn't be long or short this one. And CSX, not anything wildly exciting, but you stay long as it stays above the T-line. We did G-Box, we did BABA. CDXC, That one I'd be more apt to go short. First target right here, see what it does. If it goes through there, obviously the 200 is your next likely target. Walmart, nothing. If you're long, you can stay long. But if it opens lower tomorrow, it tells you you're now sideways, I'd probably be trading something else. Even holding that long term, Walmart doesn't have a real great chart. Macy's, you can get ready to buy this one because of the support at the T-line. Tesla, another one that you'd buy. Just watch to see what it does once it gets to the 50. Facebook, there's your wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Now you wait to see if now this becomes wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. If you're long, it has to open positive and trade positive tomorrow. I think we did UNH. Yes, buy on positive trading. XLF. The financial sector, stay long. We did look at Apple earlier. It did a bearish Harami right after it filled this gap. So if this opens lower, they're bringing it back to the T-line. This Lemonade, nothing here. If you don't want to do anything, I'd be more apt to short this with the anticipation it's coming back down to this level. I wouldn't be long this one. Robin Burgers, yeah, I would stay short, but have a safety stop up above the T-line. Dave & Buster's, same scenario. Target, that one you can stay long. If you are thinking about buying, I'd be more apt to buy it coming up through that level. And Twilio, you stay long as it stays above the T-line. Obviously watch to see what happens once it gets to the 50. That's what everybody else is going to be watching. 5, nothing. That's a sideways junky chart. And First Solar, you can stay short ever since your bearish left-right combo right here at the 50. First target is still here and possibly even lower. And GNOG, there's a perfect example of when they got up here to the 50, which has been acting as resistance. Oh, short. You were ahead of me. Yes, you could short this one on weakness because observe the obvious. It's been in a downtrend. Every time it comes up to the 50, it sells off. Here's your first target. Here's kind of your second target. Norwegian, get ready to short this one. It's not a great chart. You can see it's kind of sideways, but I would suspect at least coming back to test the 50. Okay. All right. Still some very good trade setups out there. Series of dojis off the 34, HXL. I think DXC was another one. Slow curve, fry pan bottom. Get ready for the next wave to the upside. All right, one more can. I would suspect the 200. Okay, everybody. We may have one more space available for the private training on May 15th, 16th, and 17th. So if you have any inkling, just email me with your phone number. We can talk it through. But with that, everybody have a good evening. We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. We'll see you then. JC should be calling you either. If he didn't today, he'll be tomorrow.